A plane carrying bricks of cocaine is being illegally transported when it experiences a malfunction and starts to descend. In an attempt to salvage what he can, the smuggler places some of the bricks into multiple duffel bags and tries to parachute out. However, during the process, he suffers a fatal blow to his head and falls to his demise. All of the drugs, duffel bags, and the smuggler's lifeless body ultimately end up in Chattahoochee County National Forest. One of the bricks of cocaine is stumbled upon by a large female bear who devours it, resulting in her becoming both intoxicated and agitated. As Olaf and Elsa are trekking through the forest, they spot a bear in the distance exhibiting peculiar behavior. Despite finding the bear's actions fascinating, the hikers become apprehensive when the bear becomes aware of their presence and starts to advance aggressively. Olaf attempts to warn Elsa that running away from black bears is not advisable, but she disregards his advice. The bear swiftly catches up to Elsa as she flees, and in front of a disheartened Olaf, the bear viciously tears her apart before wandering off after a butterfly, leaving Olaf behind covered in blood. While this is happening, Sid, the drug lord, meets with his associate, David, and assigns him the task of investigating the plane crash and retrieving the narcotics. Sid also instructs David to take his son, Eddie, along with him. Recently, Eddie has been struggling to cope with the loss of his wife, and Sid believes that this trip could help him get his life back on track. David attempts to lift Eddie's spirits, but his efforts prove to be fruitless. Sorry, a single mother residing close to the forest, has a conversation with her adolescent daughter, Dee Dee. Sari had initially intended to take Dee Dee to the forest over the weekend to paint the waterfall. However, she informs her daughter that she would like to bring her along to Nashville for the weekend along with her new boyfriend. Dee Dee responds by saying that it's fine but appears to be dissatisfied with the decision. Upon learning about the plane crash and the deceased smuggler, a detective named Bob becomes aware of the potential connection to Sid, whose illicit dealings Bob has been investigating. Consequently, he chooses to head to the forest to probe further. Before leaving, Bob leaves his recently acquired dog with his colleague, Reba. The following day, Dee Dee decides to ditch school and accompany her best friend, Henry, to the forest to paint the waterfall despite her mother's change of plans. As they make their way down the trail, they stumble upon a brick of cocaine. The curious youngsters proceed to open the brick and even consume a few bites of it. The bear, lured by the scent of the cocaine, emerges from the woods and starts pursuing the kids. As she prepares to meet the local wildlife specialist Peter, the forest ranger Liz applies lipstick and fancy perfume. After arming herself, she enters the gift shop and discovers a teenager known as Vest in the midst of shoplifting. Despite his criminal act, Vest manages to charm his way out of the situation. After Dee Dee misses school, the school calls Sari to inform her of her daughter's absence. Realizing that Dee Dee must have snuck off to the forest, Sari heads to the ranger station for assistance, interrupting Liz's advances on Peter in the process. While Liz tries to shoo Sari away, Peter consents to aiding Sari, and the trio ventures into the woods. Liz surmises that Dee Dee might have been abducted by local teenagers who have been robbing people in the forest. As David and Eddie enter the forest, they halt their journey for David to use the restroom. There, a group of teenagers consisting of Vest, Ponytail, and Kid enter and attempt to rob David. However, David fights back and defeats the teenagers, despite getting stabbed in the shoulder by one of them. After the fight, David discovers that one of the teens is in possession of a brick of cocaine. Upon questioning, Kid confesses that they found a duffel bag full of bricks and stashed it at a nearby pavilion with the intention of selling it later. David coerces Kid to lead him to the pavilion. Upon arriving at the ranger station, Liz is met with the sight of Vest and Ponytail ransacking the place. She pays them no attention and calls for an ambulance. Shortly after, the bear shows up and attempts to break into the cabin. Liz commands Ponytail to open the front door so that she can shoot the bear. However, being injured and a pole marksman, Liz accidentally shoots Ponytail in the head, killing him instead. The bear then breaks through a window and mauls Vest. Meanwhile, Bob arrives at the forest and searches for a way onto the roof of the pavilion, where he discovers the hidden duffel bag of cocaine. At the same time, an unknown gun also arrives at the forest. Upon the arrival of two ambulance drivers, they discover Ponytail's lifeless body on the floor and are surprised since Liz had reported his injury as a concussion. One of the EMS attends to Liz, who is barely conscious, while the other opens a door to a closet from which blood is seeping out. Inside the closet, the EMT discovers the bear gnawing on Vest's decapitated head. The bear attacks the EMT and pins him under the closet door. The second EMT manages to place Liz on a gurney and into the ambulance. However, the bear pursues the vehicle, and the second EMT is unable to close the doors as the bear jumps in, tearing him apart and knocking Liz's gurney out of the ambulance, where she is crushed on the road. The first EMT panics and crashes into a tree, causing her to fly out of the windshield to her death. The bear wanders off into the forest dazed. As Kid and Eddie head towards the pavilion, they bond, and Kid helps Eddie find closure about his deceased wife. Upon arriving, they are attacked by Bob, who is stuck on the roof with the duffel bag of cocaine. A confrontation ensues, and when David reaches for his gun, Bob shoots him, knocking off two of his fingers. Suddenly, the bear appears and consumes a brick of cocaine in front of them. It then approaches Eddie and collapses on top of him, revealing that it is a female. Reba arrives and helps Bob take control of the situation. Meanwhile, Dee Dee regains consciousness in the bear's cave with a wounded leg. Inside the cave, she finds two cubs eating cocaine from the duffel bag brought in by their mother. Returning to the pavilion, the bear eventually wakes up and starts threatening everyone on the ground. Bob retrieves a brick of cocaine from the duffel and throws it into the woods, causing the bear to chase after it. The kid runs away while the rest of the group stays put. Suddenly, a mystery assailant shoots Bob. Sid approaches and reveals himself to be the shooter. Reba confesses to secretly working for Sid. The drug dealer coerces the group into venturing deeper into the forest to retrieve any cocaine that they can find, despite the fact that his connections will hold him responsible for losing so much cocaine, regardless of whether it was an accident or not. Bob bleeds out on the roof, reminiscing about his pet dog and the life they could have had together. Henry and Sari encounter Olaf, who assists them in tracking down the bear's cave. Olaf leaves them there, and they reunite with Dee Dee. Upon hearing a commotion at the entrance of the cave, which they assume is caused by the bear, they follow the cubs out through a back entrance. This exit leads them to a cliff behind the waterfall, where they overhear Sid and his gang causing trouble at the front of the cave. They go inside the cave, discover bricks of cocaine, and trace it to the back entrance, with the exception of Reba, who leaves to return to her car to avoid tempting fate. Sid and his henchmen encounter Sari and the kids at the waterfall, and Sid threatens to kill them. David and Eddie stand up to Sid, resulting in a standoff. Before the standoff is resolved, the bear returns and attacks. Sari saves the kids by jumping off the cliff into the water below, followed by Eddie and David, with David being grazed by a bullet when Sid shoots at the bear. Sid shoots the bear multiple times, which appears to kill it. However, when Sid attempts to collect the cocaine himself, he tears open a bag, causing the cocaine to fall onto the bear and revive it. The bear tears open Sid's stomach, and the cubs eat out his intestines. All the others survive the waterfall jump, and Sari understands to David's injuries. They return to the ranger station, where they find Reba waiting for them. She instructs them to leave and assures them that she will cover their tracks. Reba also gives Bob's dog to Eddie, who promises to live a better life and raise the dog. David is glad to have an animal that is not addicted to cocaine. As Sari and the kids depart, Dee Dee expresses her happiness to go to Nashville with her mother and her mother's new boyfriend. The movie concludes with unseen hikers taking a photo of the bear and her cubs. The bears spot the hikers and attack them. Text on the screen indicates that there may still be bricks of cocaine in the forest to this day.